Hi everyone, I'm Salim. Today we're going to talk about, I go myself, today we're going to talk about DrupalForge. This is the session. I apologize for not being there. There's a bunch of logistics errors that came together, and you guys are all in the wrong room, so I don't know what else to say. So we've just introduced this tool for developers called DrupalForge, and it is very much like DDEV or other development tools that you would use locally, but it's in the cloud. So I cannot see a show of hands, but have people used DrupalPod or GitPod or things like that in the cloud for doing development? And even, I think Acquia has a Cloud IDE, those type of things. They're essentially, they're VS Code in a browser. So, and have you guys used VS Code? I take it a majority of the people should have used VS Code or have at least have exposure to VS Code. So VS Code is Visual Studio Code by Microsoft. There's an open source version of VS Code called Code Server. That's what most of these vendors use, and variations. They're different open source versions. What DrupalForge uses is Code Server. The benefit of using a Cloud IDE or VS Code in a browser is that you can use it on any server. It runs on pretty much. You can manage any site on it. You can run it on any desktop, on any laptop, on any device. Your iPad. Use it anytime. It comes up like this. You don't have to have a lot of memory. If you run out of memory, you can actually just go in and increase the container size. All of it is done on the server side. So all you need is a browser. You can even do all your development on a Chromebook. There's a lot of benefits on doing development in the cloud instead of doing development on the desktop. So anyways, I'm jumping ahead. So DrupalForge is a new product on the market, a new service, we should say, on the market, and it's set up as a nonprofit. It is free for you guys to use, for everyone to use. And here are some of the folks that are involved. You might know some of them. Darren's from Florida. Mike Anello, you might know, he's from Florida as well. David is from Atlanta. He's the only lawyer who knows nothing about Drupal. he's on our board, so he does all the legal stuff. Will is from New Orleans, and Luke's from California. I'm in Denver, and you guys, there's a bunch of other people involved, some people from Canada as well, and there's more and more people from the community are getting involved, so we'd love for you guys to be involved as well. It's more an open source project than anything else. And it is set up as a nonprofit, so all of us are just volunteering time for this. Okay, so free Cloud Enabled Drupal development. There's nothing to set up on your desktop or laptop. It's the environments are pre-built with Composer and Drush, so as soon as it's spun up, you can start developing it right away on it. And VS Code IDE, PhpMyAdmin are both available in the browser. Are people familiar with PhpMyAdmin?
Yeah.
Yes, okay, yes. Good. I see a show of hands. No, I'm kidding. Share with, you can actually share unlike local dev environments, if it's a cloud dev environment, you can actually share the URL with your clients, your collaborators, with other developers. Not only can you share the URL, you can actually invite clients and other collaborators, other developers, to come in and develop with you, so you can do parallel programming all in the cloud. Okay? And beyond that, you can take your dev environment and you can push it. You can push it to your own server. So DrupalForge does not do any hosting. It gives you a dev environment that you can manage. You can pause it, unpause it. You can keep it. If you leave it there for so long you don't use it, then it gets deleted. But if you're using it, you're actively using it, it'll keep it for you running, and it'll automatically pause it after 6 hours, and then you can go in, unpause it, and then if you like, you can connect your VPS from AWS. You can go buy a VPS from AWS, Linode, DigitalOcean, wherever, and you can connect it very easily, and then you can deploy your sites to it. And then that becomes your production server. So if you have a small site, you get a $5, $6 server on those platforms, on those cloud providers, and just run your sites on there. If you have a bigger site, medium-sized or large site, then you get a larger server. So you can do that as well. And then again, you can pause and unpause your sites as well. So compared to local dev environments, there's DDEV, there's Linode, Doxel, Drupal VM. I don't know how many of you guys use this, but a lot of these have scripts that are built in. Especially like DDEV and Linode, there's a bunch of scripts that are being maintained. On DrupalForge, there's not really any scripts. It's just Composer and Drush. So that's all we offer right now. But there's a lot of templates, and we'll show you what the templates are and how you can use them. Okay. So problems with local dev environment, if you've run into any issues, or if you've used local dev environment, you might have run into some of these issues, right? Difficult to onboard developers. This can be, this could involve shipping laptops, setting up environments, connecting it to your servers, and debugging the local desktop. It's time-consuming to set up and maintain. Sometimes the local dev environment gets corrupt, and then you have to rebuild it, and it can get hairy. There's configuration drift. So not just between your local dev environment and the production environment, but also your local dev environment and one of your teammates' local dev environment. So this is something commonly heard in teams. Is like, oh, it works on my laptop, my environment, but it doesn't work in your environment. So those are things that come with local dev environment. So because you've installed something, they haven't installed it, you've configured it in a certain way. And that's common problem with local dev environments. So it works on my machine syndrome, right? Sharing and collaboration. There's no real URL that you can share. You can do some shenanigans with getting URLs from using proxies and things like that, and using some services. But there's no easy way to share your dev environment with other people. And there's no easy way to do parallel programming. Scalability is always an issue. If you get a site, if you've only got 4 gigs of RAM or so much RAM on your laptop, and the site you're working on needs more, you're limited to the hardware's capabilities, restrictions. So versus the cloud, you can always go in and provision it. So security, who has access to your laptop, and with and this is more important to the businesses, like when you are downloading the code from a business perspective, do you want your code to be downloaded to your contractors that are coming in and going out, things like that. Those are just some considerations for local dev environments. Versus cloud dev environments, you have faster onboarding, and even globally, in minutes, not days, not hours, in minutes, because everything is done for you. It spins up and you can spin it up in seconds. Everything is pre-made for you. The faster setup, virtually no configuration. If you want to rebuild a cloud dev environment, you can do it in less than 5 minutes. So if there's a problem with the dev environment, if you want to just throw it away, it's disposable, you can just rebuild the dev environment. You don't have to worry about it. You can do collaboration. You can do much more collaborate. It's more collaborative than a local dev environment. You can actually collaborate not only with your teammates locally, you can collaborate globally and even across time zones. So some companies have teams in the US and then teams in, say, India or in different time zones, right? So they'll have, on like urgent projects, they'll have people working in the US time, and then when the US developers are checking out, there's some overlap, they hand it off to their counterparts in offshore, and those folks are working in their time zone overnight in the US, and then same thing happens. So you can have different shifts working in the same dev environment around the clock. So it's not shifting dev environments across different machines and things like that. Increased productivity. You have one dev environment working in a browser, improved security, code stays in the cloud, scalability, all the RAM and CPU, we talked about this, everything is done in the cloud. It's very easy to add more RAM, add more CPU, versus upgrading the laptop or desktop. It's always a pain in the ass. And consistent environments across team members. You have one dev environment for a branch. So it's a separate dev environment for every branch application. And then all the team members, whoever's working on it, just logs into that dev environment. And then they work in that dev environment. So any applications you install or any modules you install, everything stays in that one dev environment. So that's one of the biggest benefits, is that you have one consistent dev environment for every branch and every application. So. And if there are questions, folks, just, I guess, shout it out or somehow relay it to me, and I'm happy to answer that. So this is DrupalForge. You can bring it up on your phone, you can bring it up on your laptop if you have it. But this is what it looks like. I'll bring it up here. So this is the DrupalForge site. You have the FAQs, you have all the different versions of Drupal that are running over here. You have the quick express launch widget here for Drupal CMS. But if you go into any of the applications, each application has its own express launch widget as well. So, and then there's other options down here below for different types of launches. So I'll talk about that as well. So what do you get? You get ephemeral, disposable Drupal sites in less than, you can build it out in less than 60 seconds. We've been working on it. We've got it down to less than 5 seconds now. I think it's down to 3 seconds. So you can launch a Drupal site in 3 seconds. 5 minute, with Cloud Dev environment, okay, this was written some time ago. You can get it, if you launch your own personal dev environment, it still takes about 5 minutes to actually create an account for you. The backend engine behind this is DevPanel. That's the other product, that's the other control panel. It's another company that provides a SaaS control panel like Pantheon or Acquia, but it's something that customers connect their accounts with. That's the engine behind DrupalForge. But if you want your own personal development environment, then we have to use the APIs, create an account for you there, and then actually build a separate environment for you there that you can pause, unpause, and give you all the additional features there. So that takes a little more time. So that still takes about 5 minutes. And then under DrupalForge, you get any version of Drupal, including things like Backdrop and CiviCRM, etc. On the roadmap, even now, we're talking to some folks that are building out recipes. If you are building out a recipe, or if you're looking into building out a recipe for Drupal, you can actually host it here. You can have DrupalForge be the platform that you use to develop, demo, and distribute your recipes. So it's very easy to do here. You can submit your recipes. You create a template of it. People can use it to spin up demos. If they like it, they can create their own dev environment from it. They can clone it. They can play with it. On the roadmap, we also have the ability for recipe developers to be able to sell support, to sell installation, to sell support, to sell hosting, and to sell services based around their recipes. So again, this is all for developers in the community, that they'll be able to do all that stuff from DrupalForge. Okay, the express launch. So, it says without dev environment, so I'm going to change that, and I'm going to say, do I do this format? No, okay, say, with dev environment. So now we've changed that. It's actually, now you get that. This is this project. There's a lot of development. This was done 2 weeks ago. In the last 2 weeks, now we're actually giving out dev environments as well. So there's the change in this thing happens very rapidly. Every few days we're introducing new things. So it's moving very rapidly. So some of these slides are a little old. I'm editing it interactively right here. So you get Drupal CMS Express Launch. Whatever the Express Launch widget is, you can get it with the editor as well. And then click on it, and you get the site. Again, this is showing the old version of Drupal CMS. So let me actually go here. You guys want to see a demo?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yes. Okay, cool. All right. So here's DrupalForge. This is Drupal 11. Let me actually go. I'll set up. Let me duplicate this, and I'm going to go set up. So Drupal CMS and Drupal 11 and these things work slightly differently. So I'm going to show you how they work. Okay. So now Drupal CMS, I'm going to go in. Oh, I love these things. Bridge. Oh, hey, look. Okay, Express Launch. So let's do a countdown. Let's see how long this takes. Hey, there you go. Okay, so I think that was, 5 seconds or less. So we got Drupal CMS running. Here's the application URL. The longest part, now that we've launched it, the longest part of it is actually going through the setup process of Drupal CMS. So it's all set up on the server, but I'll show you what happens when you go through here. So you go through here. I'm just going to click through this. And this takes a while because I think we need to, as a community, we need to optimize this, the installation process a little bit. So this can take a little bit. All right. So while this is building, let's go here and let's try out. So I've gone here. I've gone into Drupal 11, and I'm going to spin up the Drupal 11 widget. Yeah. Oh, great. Now, is this considered mercenary? Okay, well, good. Okay, so I'm going to Drupal 11. Okay, there you go. So that was even less than 3 seconds. That was good. So now I get the application URL, and you see the widget differences between here. On Drupal CMS, you don't get as much information because when you're launching it, when it builds it out, it actually gives you, Drupal CMS will give you its own, the installation process will set up its own random password and stuff. So we don't give you that over here. But we do give you VS Code and the password for it. Here is Drupal 11. And if I click on it, this comes up right away. Here's the login URL. Of course, you guys know where it is. The username and password, so it's basically dev panel and dev panel. So just paste it here. It's the same thing. And then log in. So I'm logged in now. So this is your application. And then if I want to open up VS Code, this is the password for it. I'm going to open this up. And it's going to prompt me for the password. And this is VS Code in the browser. Okay. So I'll show you that in a little bit quickly. Yes, I trusted it. I understand. Thank you very much. And I'm going to increase the font size here. And you can see this is all, if you've used VS Code, this should look very familiar. You've got all the different things you can install. Actually, you can install extensions and modules inside. You can open up terminal. And in the terminal, you can see that Composer is pre-installed. So you can see Composer 2 is here. It's in Clear, it's in Drush. And you can see Drush is installed here as well. I can open up a file here, for example, index.php. I've got this Drupal 11 running here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to, I'll show you, this is exactly like working on your local dev environment, but in the cloud. Yeah. But I'll show you how this works. Yeah. This Cloud IDE works. I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to type in PHP info. And I have not done anything. I have not saved it. This is automatically saved in the background. I have not committed the code. I haven't done anything else with it, right? So I've just written this code, and I want to see what the effect of this code is on the site. Okay, so I'm going to go to the site, and I'm going to reload the site. And there it is. Okay. So, and then if I come back over here, I comment this out, I go here, and I reload the site, and it's back. So this is how fast it works. This is how easy it is to deploy. It's how fast it is to deploy, how easy it is to work with. Everything's done in the browser. And it is just like working in your local dev environment, but in cloud. Yeah. When you're launching it from the widget, okay, you only get 6 hours, and it tells you how much time you have left here. Yeah. After 6 hours, if you launch it from the widget, there's no way to save it, there's no way to extend it, it just goes away. That's it, it's done. Right, so you can experiment with it all you want, but that's it. If you want to save it, if you want to develop it, you want to save it, you want to pause it, you want to unpause it, you want to work on it again, you want to invite other developers to it, your teammates to it, you want to share the URL with others, and you want to even deploy the site to your own VPS in the future as a production site. What you can do is you can go down here and you can select this. You can select for developers, right? So if you select for developers and you select, I'm going to go back to my presentation. Okay, so this is Drupal CMS, and we went into the launch, and now we're going to talk about this. Okay, so, all right, any questions so far? No? Continue? You guys hear me?
Yeah, continue.
Okay. Good to go?
Yep.
Okay. All right, so this is what happens when you go to, if you want to save it, you want to select the developer option. When you select the developer option, you get a form, and you have to fill out a form. One of the things that you need in the form is a Drupal.org username. This is just our way to authenticate that you belong in the Drupal community, so we're not getting spammed by people randomly. Right? So we're not giving away these resources to random people. So you fill out your information, you fill out your email, you fill out what you're looking for. Actually, what you're looking for should be, the page that you're from. I don't think we even ask that question anymore. You fill out your Drupal.org username, and then, you confirm you're not a robot. It's very important. And then you get a page like this. It says, check your email, and it's going to be processing. It takes about 5 minutes. After this is done, this page updates to something like this. And I've noticed that you have to manually refresh it. It should refresh automatically to this, but right now it's something broken, so you have to manually keep refreshing the page. It ends up like this. You have all your links. It says, do not close this page. Actually, you can, because you end up getting an email as well. You put your links in there. Yeah. When you follow that link, you'll end up logging into DevPanel, which is the backend service behind the DrupalForge magic. Is you have to log in with the same email address that you used on this form, right? So you log in with the same email address, and you can use the Google single sign-on, or you can create an account here. So just log in with that account, right? Once you log in, you'll see a workspace, or you'll get dropped into a project like this. So let me actually do this. I went and did. Okay, so I filled out this form. I'm gonna jump a little bit. I'm gonna go back a little bit. Oh, something happened with the Drupal CMS. Right. We're pulling Drupal CMS directly from the repo, and the repo for the Drupal CMS keeps changing on a nightly basis, and sometimes this thing crashes, so we're going to have to look at that. We saw Drupal 11 working. Yeah, I think this thing crashed. Yeah. Interesting. Okay. All right, so this was I'm gonna go here. Give me 1 sec. This is Drupal 11. We still have that widget running. We still have Drupal 11 running. We solved this. We went here. Okay, this is what happens. Yeah, I'm back on track. Yeah, this is what happens when you go into the launch. If I click on launch, you get a form like this. Okay? So I'm going to click on launch here. You get a form like this. You fill out this form, and once it's ready, you get something like this, and you get. Give me 1 second. So you get a. Once this is ready, you get something like this, and you get an email that says your application is ready. Drupal 11 default application is ready. Okay. So this application, it has the application URL and it has the workspace URL. You click on the application URL and the application opens up. Then you click on the workspace URL, and this takes you into your workspace. So I've already logged in. If I was logged out, this is what happens. Yeah. So I'm going to log out. I'm going to close all of this stuff. Okay, so I get an email. I'm going to access the workspace. I get to create an account, or I can use single sign-on. And this is what was built for me. Okay. So you can have multiple branches here. This is I'm just working on the main branch. This is the time that I have left. So remember we talked about you can, if you have your developer version, you can actually extend your time. Right? You can pause and unpause it. So right now I could pause this application if I wanted to. After this time, it automatically gets paused, and then this button turns into unpause. It should say resume. It says unpause. So you unpause it, and then it takes a minute and comes up. It starts running again. Okay? But if you are working on it actively and you need more time, you just come over here and you click on this button, the icon, clock icon. And you'll see the time right now is 5 something, and I click on it, and you just got an extension. If you click on it again, you get an error. So it needs to come down. You can only get a maximum of so much time, and then it needs to come down, and then it counts it off. Right? So this is the application, and you get VS Code with it as well. So here's the VS Code for it. And here is I've already generated the token for this, and here is the generate token. Here's the PhpMyAdmin. You guys familiar with PhpMyAdmin? So this is your database. You can go in and look at your tables here. You can download it, you can run the SQL queries and so on. So everything's done in the browser. You can do all your development. You can see your activities. You can create backups. This is the DrupalForge version of NetPanel is a limited version. It has very limited features, so there's a lot of things you can't do versus an enterprise version. So, for example, you can do manual backups and download the backups, but you can't do automated backups. That's disabled. You can set up a webhook, but it's only good, the webhook is only good while your application is running. You can change some configuration. For example, you can enable or disable the code server and PhpMyAdmin, you can change the app root and web root, and you can change the image version that you're running. So you can change the PHP version that you're running, but you cannot change the container size. And if you want to do some of this stuff, you can contact us and we can change some of these things for you. The container size, by the way, depends on the application that you're running. So some application templates on DrupalForge will have container size of even 4 gigabytes. So depending on the application that you're running, the dev environments can be really large as well. So we've optimized it for whatever the application requires. Custom domains, this is disabled right now, but this is something you can do as well. Cluster deployments are disabled. You can look at the logs. That's Apache and error logs are here. You can invite other users as collaborators. You can enable HTTP or htaccess lock. You can do strict or loose permissions. I won't go into the details, but there's a slight difference there. You can set up environment variables for if you don't want to embed keys into your settings, API keys and things like that. And you can deploy to your VPS. So if you want to connect to VPS from somewhere, you need to give it a name, give it a description, VPS username, this is the root username. Sometimes it's Ubuntu, sometimes it's root or whatever, the IP address and the private key to the VPS. And then you connect it, and then after you connect it, you can you'll get a list of VPS. You can attach multiple VPSs, and then you can deploy it to those VPS and get a deployment. And the nice thing about this is, if you have a dev environment set up here, these dev environments can go to sleep after you work on it, and goes to sleep after, pauses after 6 hours. But what you can do is keep the dev environment here, and then connect your VPS from wherever you want, right? Create a VPS wherever you want, connect it here. Use that VPS as your production site, and simply deploy to it. Next time you want to update it, come over here, unpause your dev site, make your changes, make your updates, right? Test it, make sure everything's working correctly, and then redeploy it to your VPS. So you can do that. And whenever you go to redeploy it, it'll ask you, what do you want to redeploy? Do you want to redeploy just the code? There are checkboxes for code, for database, and for files. So you can select what you want to redeploy. You can redeploy all of it, or you can deploy partially. You can do selective deployment. Danger zone is for you to, if you copy and paste this, you can actually delete the branch, the application. So, and then this deployment to VPS is basically brings you to this page. You can have multiple branches. I'm not going to go through that right now, but this, you can see that this repo has 2 branches. If I had a token, I don't think I have a token right now, but if I click, then I'm going to get an error. So I don't have a token to this repo, but to GitHub. But if I had a valid token in there, I'd get multiple branches and I can develop them. So, all right. So that is the features. I think I covered most of this stuff. Your cloud development, VS Code is here. You can pause, unpause the application URL. You can extend it. Your VS Code is here. You have to generate the token before you can deploy it. So if you go here and you go into here, you have to always, the generate token is not, okay, they've changed that. You have VS Code, we talked about the terminal, you can open up the terminal. The terminal, by the way, in the browser version is, I think it's the same as the regular version is. In the burger menu, you go to terminal and you say new terminal. And then Drush and Composer are built in. You can do live edits. This is the Git is built in, so you can do can actually do, where is that? You can do your Git, you can see what has changed, what you can commit, putting a commit message and change it. The extensions are built in, so you can see what extensions are installed. You can install other extensions to it. Let's see. The live edit, we saw this as well. Yes, got extensions. Deployment, we talked about deployment and how you can do deployment to VPSs, any VPS. The cluster deployment for auto-scaling websites and for auto-scaling clusters in your own account, managing your own account. So Dev Panel, the back end of DrupalForge can manage a lot of infrastructure, auto-scaling clusters and Kubernetes and all that stuff. That's all enterprise stuff. And the VPS stuff is free to use. There's a how-to page, and it walks you through how to deploy your site, how to actually connect custom domains to it, so on, after you've deployed it. And to connect a custom domain, the workflow would be you acquire a VPS, set up the SSH key, connect your VPS with your SSH key, connect it to DrupalForge with your VPS, deploy your dev site to the VPS, get a custom domain from somewhere like Code IDE or whatever your registrar is, use Cloudflare CDN. Yeah. Are you guys familiar with CDN? You know what CDN stands for?
Yes.
Yep.
Content Delivery Network. So you get Cloudflare CDN, and CDN has a lot of benefits. Not only does it make your site faster, but it gives you protection against DDoS, and it gives you a WAF, which is a web application firewall. So we highly recommend CDNs, and we highly recommend the Cloudflare CDN because they actually have a free account, which is awesome. You use the Cloudflare CDN, get a free account, and use that to connect your custom domain that you purchased with the IP address of the server that you deploy to. So the Cloudflare becomes that middle connection layer, the glue between the two. And so your domain goes to CDN to the server. And then once that's done, your site is live. And then you can just come back to your dev environment and you redeploy it as needed. Because the dev environment will go to sleep after 6 hours. Just come back, re-enable it, wake it up, make it changes, test it, redeploy. That's it. Okay, and you can manage. This way you can manage hundreds of sites. So there's no limit. What did we cover? Creating sites. Site builder sites. Okay, we didn't really go into site builder sites, but if you select from DrupalForge, if you select site builder sites, you don't get a dev environment with it. And it's just like you just get a site, you get a site URL, you get the admin username and password. For us developers, I don't know how useful that is, but might as well get the one with the dev. Creating dev sites with cloud dev environment using Cloud IDE and the process of going from dev environment to production setup and workflow. Okay, any questions? You gotta have some questions. You gotta ask me one question.
I got one for you, Sal. When you're deploying, that's when I say you're deploying from onto your VPS. Are you deploying it into a Docker that's automatically set up, or what's the environment you're deploying?
Yes, good question. Okay, so what we do when you connect a VPS to your dev panel account, we will go in there and we will deploy containers. So we will actually deploy a Docker container, and your site is going to be running inside a Docker container on that VPS. So, very good question, yeah. So we deploy containers, essentially. So does that answer your question?
Yes, it was. Yeah, it was. What's going like? We said we got containers here, but how did we get containers on Linode? Like, that's the dev panel goes behind and does all that for you. Does all
Yeah. All you have to do is get an account on Linode, get a VPS on Linode, and connect that VPS. We take care of everything else. You don't have to worry about anything else.
So is that something like Ansible you run in the back end to do that?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So everything is done using Ansible playbooks, and if you're using the enterprise version, then we set up and manage the infrastructure using Terraform. So we use Terraform to manage the Kubernetes cluster and auto scaling, and all the other magic in the back end.
All the stuff we don't want to manage.
All the stuff you guys don't want to manage, or all the stuff we don't want to manage either. It's all automated and across the board. So for all the clients, it's all done automatically. I say 99% of the stuff that people normally do is automated. 99% of the DevOps is automated through DevPanel. So it basically does all the heavy lifting for you. And we're here to answer questions and take care of that 1% of the anomalies and bespoke issues that come up. So.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions?
No, I think that's it.
Okay, cool. Was this good? I'm sorry I'm not there personally. I would have enjoyed meeting you guys
next time
in person, but I hope this worked out.
Yeah, definitely. I was interested in seeing it. Bo told me to come and see this because I never want to set up Kubernetes. I've been through that. I don't want to play with Terraform. I want the benefits of it. I just don't want to have to go through it.
Yeah, and you saw you saw the dev environments that we're creating, the VS Code, and all the stuff that's running behind the scene that DrupalForge is using. It's all being run on Kubernetes.
Okay.
You saw how fast the containers are being created. You saw how all the orchestration is being done on the back end. Everything is done by DevPanel on Kubernetes. So yeah, we're taking care of that. All the stuff that we're running behind the scene is done on Kubernetes, and we give you the option of taking the dev environments that we're running for you on our Kubernetes cluster, and we're giving you the option of taking that and putting that on your own VPS if you wanted to. So, yeah. All right. Thank you, everyone.